Hey guys, it's ANicWin, also known as Amy, and happy Monday. I hope you're having a lovely day. This is a shotgun style house built in Willow Creek. It does have some New Orleans vibes to it. It's not quite like the French Quarter or anything like that, so it doesn't have any of the big grand balconies and stuff like that. But it is pretty reminiscent of it. If you search New Orleans style homes, this is kind of what you'll see. It's also what you see in all the starter homes in Willow Creek. And since this is a base game only home, I don't know if I said that yet, but since it's base game only, I decided to kind of emulate what was going on in the world, and I had a lot of fun with this one. So it is a shotgun style. It's not a true like through and through, like all of the doors don't line up and there's no back door, so that you're not going outside, but you walk into the living room and then you walk into the bedroom and then you walk through the bedroom to the kitchen and the bathroom attached. So all of the rooms are not interconnected, but like you can't get from one without going through all of the others, I guess, if that's fair to say. It's fair to say, but like I don't know if it makes sense. Hopefully it makes sense. But I think this home would be perfect for 1 to 2 sims. I mean, you could technically probably squeeze in 3 if you wanted to section out the house just a little bit differently. It's definitely big enough to squeeze 2 bedrooms into here. But I'm picturing more so a single sim. You could do up to 2. It would be perfect for young adult all the way through elder. So it's really whatever story you want to use the house to tell. I don't have a specific storyline in mind. I was just wanting to do something that was base game only. It had been a while. I wasn't feeling Oasis Springs. I'm very much in a Willow Creek frame of mind, so this is where we are. Like I said, there's no specific storyline. I don't have an idea of who lives here. There are a ton of like skill building activities. I think the only 2 categories I don't include are like the fitness and athletic stuff, just because there wasn't room, to be honest. And then the other one would be music. I don't include any sort of musical instrument, but there is still creativity, so you got options. You can also add those things if you want to. I also went real hard with debug. I mean, there are a handful of plants like in the front yard and the landscaping and stuff that aren't debug, but for the most part it's debug. And that wasn't me trying to save on cost, because I think this home is still pretty expensive. I didn't check the price before doing this, but I feel like it's somewhere in the 50,000 range, if not more. It could be less. I don't know. It's the art. Base game, like artwork and sculptures and stuff like that, cost so much. I don't know why. I really don't. I would say it needs to be looked at, but like to be fair, a lot of the base game art is like really gaudy. It is. It's gaudy. It's kind of bougie. It's not stuff that your everyday people would have in their home, I don't think. That's just a personal opinion. I could be completely wrong, but it's just like not a lot of people are buying framed fruit and gilt frames. You know what I mean? Like, at least I'm not. I don't know. It's not something I grew up with, so I don't know. But I did like throwing this all together. I think the exterior for base game only builds is a lot easier for me versus the interior. I won't say I struggle, because it's not difficult. I just feel a little bit more limited with interiors over exteriors. And I think that's just down to personal preference. I personally prefer doing a landscape and an exterior versus an interior anyway, like 9 times out of 10. I know that's kind of like bold coming from somebody who does a lot of apartment builds, but I like building outside more than I do inside. And like I said, that's just personal preference. I don't know. Maybe you feel the same way. Maybe you feel differently. You could prefer decorating. I don't know. I've said I don't know so many times, and I'm not going to redo this voiceover. So I've acknowledged it, and we're just going to try to stop saying it. I almost said it just then. I am a little at a loss for words. It's Sunday at the time of recording this, and I've been alone all day. It's like 5 p.m. almost. We've got about 10 minutes, and I haven't spoken out loud today yet, so I'm a little bit rusty, I guess. That's what I'm gonna go with. That's the excuse I'm making. So we're wrapping up the front porch here. I like gabbed all the way through that. I did put some seating and stuff out there. Ideally, I would have included a drink tray. Because this is base game, there aren't any that came with it, but I think that's really a place that you're gonna sit and socialize with friends, neighbors, guests, your housemates. I mean, whoever's with you. I feel like that's where you're spending the majority of the time. The kitchen doesn't have a huge dining area. It does include one, and the living room does have a full-size sofa, but I still feel like a lot of the quality, like one-on-one time, is spent outdoors, or like entertaining is still spent outdoors. So let me move on here to the side yard. It's not really a backyard. I've noticed with a lot of these lots in Willow Creek that the Sims team decided to go for more of a side yard and less of a backyard. I think that's just because these homes are so long. They're not wide. So that's really what you're left with, is what little bit you have in the front and the side. And I like that style. I kind of enjoy it. So I kept it. I would have preferred a fencing that was dark brown. And the one that I used does have a dark brown swatch, but the gate, there's a matching gate, but it just didn't look like, the style wise, it didn't look right. So I went with that sort of, I guess it's a wrought iron gate, but it's white. And I changed the fencing to white to match because it looked a little bit strange next to the wooden panels, planks, whatever. So that was a design choice. Again, I said this a lot in my last build. I don't know if it's a great one, but it was definitely a choice. And if that's something you don't like, if you want to switch that up, feel free. Just know that the original vision was that dark brown that's like in the windows. I wanted that to be reflected in the fencing, and it just didn't work out. So as you can see, I also placed one of the plant sim stumps. You don't necessarily have to use it. I kind of like adding it to base game builds just because I think it adds a little bit of mystery. It also gives you a little something to play with, like maybe this is a plant sim, or maybe they're into gardening and they're going to end up becoming a plant sim, and it's going to be this like wild, adventurous type journey. You never know. So that's why I added that. And of course there's gardening. I did include an easel. There's some woodworking. I don't think I add anything else to the backyard. I was very briefly going to add the telescope, but I'm doing another build that you'll see soon-ish, eventually, that includes both styles of telescopes, like prominently, and I didn't want to overdo it, which is funny because you're not going to see that build next to this one, but I built them next to each other, and so it felt a little too repetitive. But there's definitely room for one, and again, I was going to add it. So if you're just feeling that vibe, if you feel like it's necessary, go ahead and throw that in, because it would be true to vision. Then we move on to the interior, and I start with the bathroom. I knew it was going to be a 4-piece, and I wanted to just get it out of the way. I don't dislike bathrooms. I just feel like I'm not very original, so I don't spend a ton of time. I just get down what needs to be down, and I kind of come up with a color scheme that I can sort of somewhat follow. So there's a lot of that kind of, it's not even a rose gold, and it's not quite pewter. I don't know what kind of metallic finishing that is, but it's kind of all over the place. I didn't change the toilet paper holder, but there is a corresponding swatch of that metal, and of course it's not in the shower. That was just a little too hard to coordinate, but there is a lot of it throughout the bathroom, so that was kind of nice. I like cohesion. And I decided pops of like yellows, orange, corals were going to be really nice for this build because a lot of it is blue and green and brown, and I liked that that color to kind of bring a little bit of warmth but brightness, even though it's mostly warm. I don't know. It made sense in my head at the time of the decision. Then we head on into the kitchen. I actually really like this kitchen. I think this is one of my favorite base game kitchens I've ever made, if not one of all time. I just like the layout, I like the cabinets, I like the shape. I really like it. And I actually may refurnish this house without base game, or without the base game restriction, and just see what else I can do with this space, just because I really enjoyed it that much. Now you'll notice I placed a little cat playing I think it's a saxophone. It might be a drum kit. I actually can't see. A saxophone is definitely involved. Anyway, their cat's playing music. I decided to throw that in the kitchen. One, it felt it just felt right. And two, I feel like whatever sim lives here is a little bit on the quirky side, right? Like they enjoy funny art. Like maybe they go thrifting and that was something they found at Goodwill. And it was like $3. It was a steal. And so they brought it home. I don't know. I could just kind of enjoy that. And then we're going to start kind of cluttering up the countertops here. I do include a coffee pot. I did not play test, so I don't know if it works in the position it's in. If it needs to be moved, it'll be moved. So hopefully it'll work for you when you download it. But I do include that, and I included a dishwasher. I don't always throw those in, but since I wasn't going for a starter home, I didn't really mind. So that's my excuse there. And yeah, so I'm really excited. I'm just going to talk about this. I wasn't going to talk about this in this video just because I'm trying to avoid talking about it, but I'm going to. So my high school years, or whatever it is, the name of it is, comes out Thursday. So today for you guys is Monday, for me it's Sunday. So it comes out Thursday. I pre-ordered it. I cannot wait to build with it, and I'm going to try my hardest. I'm crossing my fingers, just so you know. I'm going to try my hardest to get a build out for you guys on Friday. So you might have 2 builds this week. I don't know if I can do it just because of like my scheduling when it comes to work, one, and when I can do voiceovers and stuff, because I do live with somebody, and when they're here, I hate to be like, hey, can you be quiet, because my mic picks up everything. So you just, you know, you want to be courteous of other people's time and home and all of that stuff. So I'm going to try my hardest. If I can't get it out Friday, I'll have a build uploaded for you guys on Monday, which is only a few days after the pack is released. But I'm super excited. I'm super thrilled. I do already have a pretty good idea in my head of what I'm going to do. But I also haven't watched any of the spoilers, so I don't know what all we're going to get with the pack. I have no idea. I've only watched the trailer, and I watched a trailer reaction from one of my sweet friends, and that's it. That's all I've done. And I haven't really even been on Twitter. I want to see nothing. I don't want anything spoiled. Oh, I'm so excited. Super excited. So I'm gonna have to play around with the pack before building, is really what I was trying to get at there. Anyway, we've moved into the bedroom. So the bedroom is kind of split into the sleeping area, and then the side that's empty currently is going to be the dressing area and also her workspace, or his workspace, whomever lives here. So there's going to be a desk with a computer. If you wanted this house to be like a 2-bedroom, you could split it here. You could have a really small child's room or nursery, and you could change the doors just to give you a little bit more space. Have like a really narrow hallway in between the two. And you could move the desk out into the living room. There is plenty of space. Just like I said, I didn't really feel a family home vibe from this build, so I wasn't trying really hard to make it a family home. I don't know. I know that's unusual for me because I'm all about it, but it just didn't feel right for this one, so I went with my gut and I went with what felt more natural. So that was the computer area. I don't know that they necessarily work from home. I think that's really just for them to kind of play around with. I think it's more of a hobby or just like personal interest and less a professional interest, but you never know. You never know who's going to end up here. And then the dressing area is really simple. I went really simple with the bedroom just because I like to make them a little less personalized when I don't have a specific storyline in mind. That way when people download them, it's not a big headache for them to swap out, artwork or items or something like that. It's pretty easy for them to customize it just because I don't know who's going to be living in the bedroom. I don't know if that makes sense. It's probably a little convoluted, but there you have it. And then we move on here to the living room. Now, I struggled with these windows because they're on the medium wall height, and in base game, there's only like 2 curtains that fit. There might be more than 2, but there was a very limited selection of curtains that fit the medium wall height windows. I have no idea if there are any that fit the tall wall height, but I struggled to find ones that matched, that didn't make me want to like cry a little bit on the inside. I finally found some. These are not the ideal style that I would have gone with. I don't hate them. I don't dislike them. They're just not what I had in my head. They weren't the vision, but it's okay. They work. But I never realized how limited the curtain options are for base game until I play with it, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this. But I also gave them a fireplace. I decided to go with that really bright sofa that came with base game. I think that's more of a coral. You might say it's orange. It could be pink. I don't know. It's in that color family. I decided to go with that one because it's got some really great texture on it. It looks like it's kind of like a woven material. I really enjoy that. And then down here is going to be, I guess you'd call it a recreational area. We have a bookcase. There is a grandfather clock and then a chess table. And that's pretty much it for the build, guys. So I'm going to leave you here to enjoy the rest of it and the screenshots. As always, feel free to leave a like or a comment down below letting me know what you think. You can also subscribe if that's something that would spark joy for you. I will be posting the screenshots on Instagram if you want to hop over there and check those out. In the meantime, I will see you on maybe Friday with my next build, definitely on Monday with another video, and I hope you have a lovely day and a lovely rest of your week. Bye, guys.
Wasn't I meant to lie in your arms here for a while? I'm alive and I take you in. I've been falling, calling. When I reach out